human perspective.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
Sharing the love, spreading the light in real time. Friday night love stream.
Very happy to have a guy we instantly resonated with. Unbiased and on the fence. I'm talking about Shane C. Robinson. And his purpose is to rise above the worldviews that are designed to separate us so we can unite as one.
Sometimes you have to sort of take a step back, and I think Unbiased and on the Fence is a really, really good title for your show, because you are in the central point when you're unbiased and on the fence. That's what it means. It doesn't mean you're indecisive. It means you are taking the central point and you're seeing the multiple perspectives.
Unbiased and on the Fence.
If you haven't checked Unbiased on the Fence, go and check his channel out. You might like it.
This is Dan Holfeld from Talk is Cheap, and you're listening to Unbiased and on the Fence with Shane Robinson.
If this much sincerity enters your life, come to this much. What I know, I know. What I do not know, I do not know. I don't believe anything, I don't disbelieve anything. I'm willing to look at everything. You will become a sensible human being.
Have you checked out our website?
Visit us on the web at uotf.net. You're listening to The Love Stream.
All around the world in real time.
This is Shane with Unbiased and On the Fence. You're listening to the Friday Night Love Stream.
Your calls, your stories, on air. You're listening to the love stream.
Sharing the love and spreading the light all around the world. This is Unbiased and On the Fence.
Unbiased and on the fence.
And happy Friday to you guys. And Saturday morning to you guys watching over there on the other side of the pond. So, who is up to call in tonight? I could start with some Wingmakers, but I figured I could reiterate a little bit. Actually, April, you know what? I've got a Bible discussion for you, if you have time. I think that would be interesting. People would like that one because it's about the mark and what's going on right now, and a different way of looking at a scripture that I think would be interesting. As it relates to everything going on right now and how a scripture's been looked at one way, but it can be completely looked at a completely different way when you get to looking at the original. And I was really blown away. I really wanted to do some kind of video on it maybe, but, you know, I kind of try to steer away from religion because so many people, it's hard to have a fun, open discussion, you know, without people getting heated. But on here, it's like a little bit more laid back because it's not in the title. People don't, you know, people stumble across it. Anyway, but, yeah, so, like, just, I don't know, it's more than ever. You know, during meditation, it's been shown to me how, you know, we are all so addicted to information, you know. I mean, it's like just about everybody, anyway, to some extent or another. And how it's really like this, it's like information versus being present. You know, because whenever you're looking at the information, you're like studying history, you're putting stuff together, you're trying to figure out the future, and it's still kind of putting you in that resonant place of like uncertainty, you know. Well, for some people look at it with excitement and stuff, but still, you know, whenever you're out there, it's like a minefield. You're bound to come across something that triggers you unexpectedly and stuff. And that's, you know, that's all part of it too, you know. But yeah, it's just been shown to me that balance needs to have my arrow pointed in the right direction, because when these energies come in, you want to be, you know, pointed in the right direction when you get that shove of energy to push you into the higher dimensions and stuff. So that's kind of like what I've been, as much as I love to look at all the different information, at the end of the day, I know it's working out perfectly. I don't need to, you know, worry too much about anything because there's so many stories, and it's, man, it is just so chaotic out there when you, and it's like, it would almost, it's probably almost easier for the closed-minded people because they kind of jump on board with one of the theories, you know, and then they kind of feel comfortable with thinking that's how it's going to play out. But then the other people that are more open-minded look at all of these and realize that, man, all of these could play out on all of these multiple levels. But at the end of the day, you know, it's playing out perfectly, and you can see people waking up from it. You can see it's this incredible global catalyst right now that's driving people to question things that they didn't question before, and to look at things, and it's almost like the powers that be are pushing so hard now, it's, you know, it's almost bringing attention to themselves. So I just see everything just, you know, the whole house of cards falling, you know, being revealed for what it is, the veil being lifted, as we like to say. Yes, Marcia, I am so tired of all the division too. Yeah. And, you know, I don't really see much of it, but I know it's going on. I don't really go. I think it's always going to be there if you're looking for it, or any kind of hot button topics. It's just part of it, you know. Whenever there's unanswered questions, whenever there's a mystery, then there's always, you know, people can come to conclusions about things, and then they get set on that, you know. And then here's the other thing. You've got worldviews, already established worldviews that you know are 100% accurate. So then you're taking the information and you're like cramming it into like this, kind of like a cookie cutter sort of a, I don't know. We have this amazing ability as humans to make things fit and make connections, and I think that's part of creating our own reality, you know. Pretty much you're going to find whatever you're looking for. Seek and ye shall find. That's a completely different way of looking at that one, huh? Okay, well, we'll see if anybody wants to call in. Phone lines are open. Let's play a little Wingmakers. What is up, you guys? Phone lines are open if you want to join me. Topics are open. We can discuss Mandela effects. We can discuss whatever you want. Let's see here. So let me... Phone lines in the U.S., 605-562-0444. And the show ID is 1477973. And if you're anywhere else, check out the numbers in the description below. And of course, you can always join online. Of course, you're listening to the sound of the Wingmakers music. You can find it on YouTube, free. This is Chambers 1 through 9. Oh, and what a wonderful time to take a conscious breath together, you guys. Don't forget to sigh. That's where the release is. Hurricane Laura Lee, I like that. All right, we're going to go to the phone lines. Laura, are you there?
I'm here.
How's it going?
Going well. Hello, Friday Night Love Stream friends. It's been way too long.
Yeah, and I love the upgrade to your name, Hurricane Laura. I need a hurricane after
Well,
I'm at the end
thank
of the
you.
alphabet.
They named the hurricane Laura, and I thought, well, I felt like it was a sign I needed to really come out like a hurricane, and then I couldn't figure out what to do. So I just changed my name instead.
Yeah, reminder. That's good.
Right. Yeah. But I guess there's a little more to it. Well, if you look into the name Laura, Laurel, and Lawrence, it all has a connection to Corona. So I thought it was pretty interesting just to find all of that out.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. How does it
Yeah,
have a connection?
So I guess Lawrence is the male of Laura, and it has to do with like the laurel flower, which we see around. I believe it's like a flag of something for the United States of America, the laurel flower, that you see around it.
Yeah.
Nothing's a coincidence, right?
Right.
I think we get. Oh, geez. Oh, I was outside with my dog, and then my dad's doing farm work, and I just let her go. Oops, sorry. Just gotta find my dog really quick. Libby, come here. Come here. Come here. Okay, sorry. Okay, we're good. She's like Houdini. We've actually called her that before because she can get away from her collar. She slips out of it, and it's literally like a magic trick. So, anyhow, how have you been?
Really good. What part of the country are you in again? Trying to remember.
So I'm in Wisconsin.
Okay.
Which there wasn't a hurricane, but there was something, worse. There in Kenosha, the whole shooting. Yeah. I'm not by there. I'm about a couple hours away from Kenosha, but nonetheless, it affects people that live in Wisconsin. And when you see something like that happen, and people go and start burning down businesses and buildings, you go, those aren't my people. Right. I know. We don't do that. That's just not how we act. And I think it's crimes against humanity right then and there when it comes to your hometown, or when it comes to your home state, I guess.
Well, what I'm noticing a lot that seems to be like a push to, whenever we come together and we really see who the enemy is, that's what they don't want to happen. So if they can keep presenting things in a way that keeps us after each other, right. like even the mask. Look at the mask. The mask isn't to protect you. Right. It's to protect everyone else.
Right.
So
it's not you and me. It's we.
Right. Exactly. So you're automatically framed. If you don't want to go along with the narrative they got going on, you're just automatically framed for those who don't know as someone that's insensitive or something. You know what I mean? And it's.
Oh, for sure. You're an enemy of of humanity if you don't wear a mask. And it's like, no, you're killing yourself. You're harming yourself with the exhale, CO2, carbon dioxide. That's something we learned in science class, was don't breathe in what you breathe out, because that's how our bodies are so sophisticated. And I feel like in all of this, what's going on, we're living in like caveman times where people forgot that we were built to be able to resist this type of an enemy, if you will. And when people started to wake up and realize, hey, something's not right here, because why? Your body started telling you, your sixth sense started telling you something's not right. The news was telling you one thing, but your body was telling you another thing. I think that's probably been a big part of an awakening for a lot of people, but I think it also puts another crowd head further in the ground, unfortunately.
Right.
And I want to be positive here, and I know it's the Friday Night Love Stream, but I think it's super important to talk about because all we're doing is wanting to send that love to our family and friends that are harming themselves by breathing that in. And when we know darn right, there was never one secluded case that they ever studied it from, that they're making a vaccine or whatever from. And it's all like everyone just wants to get out of the mask so bad that they will do whatever it takes.
Line up.
And I think we're at a point where I woke up this morning, I finally started getting more, in touch with my messages again, or at least accepting them and allowing them to come in. And I had one come in this morning that was like about our DNA and how they termed the DNA that they weren't sure about. They coined it junk DNA. Right. And I think whoever did that is a massive masochist or whatever you call that. Like that's just an evil thing right then and there by ever saying anything negative about our bodies that God gave us, that God created us in his image. We came in the image of God. We didn't come here with, God don't make no junk. I remember that was a sign my grandma had at her house, and I'll never forget it. And all I can think is, no, there's no junk about us. Everything is exactly as it's meant to be. We came in with the sophistication. Yeah. And I think right now, more than ever, what we need to be is realize our vastness, what we have to offer as sovereign beings, and just to really come together in unity and love. Everything is dividing everyone right now, and everyone's going along with it. It's like, I remember when, I first started kind of waking up, and I think I've talked about this before, you had your favorite sports team, and when you met somebody who was a rival of, like the number one rival of your sports team, you disliked that person. It was like division in and of itself. And we're dividing ourselves politically. We're dividing ourselves over the mask. We're dividing ourselves over a debate of we'll call it Maxine, just for fun, so you don't get censored. And that was the whole goal. If anything, somebody else is winning if we're debating, if we're divided. And the only way for us to not be divided is to start coming together and realize our sovereignty, that we are all so freaking important and unique, and we each have our own signature. And we came into this world with that, and at this time for that reason. And when you live in a fear mindset, or when you're based in fear, you cannot make rational decisions. It's just you listen to what everything is being told to you, and it's usually hearsay. So it's like, so-and-so said do this, and you're like, okay, I don't want to die. And it's like, what's your body telling you? Are you really believing that? So I think now more than ever, we just need to listen to our bodies, listen to what our sixth sense, or however many other senses we have. Yeah. And it's so weird because all of the five senses that they teach us about, like, that's like just a given, right? Like, oh, you have taste, you have touch, you have sight, you have smell, blah, blah, blah. But no one ever says, well, you also have intuition, and you also have a gut brain. And when your gut says one thing and the world tells you another, there's a reason for it.
Well, they don't want you thinking with that. That's our connection to the infinite intelligence, you know what I mean? So and even school, it's all like directed to the left brain, the math and the science, a little bit of music, a little bit of acting, a little bit of creativity on the right, but mainly left. I mean, the whole system's left. That's the whole out of whack thing. And haven't we thought everything that we didn't understand was junk at first? You know what I mean? And it's for them to look at the DNA, and I mean, you can go and look at some of these hieroglyphs and say, oh, look, it's chicken scratch here, and this is nothing or whatever. But it could hold all sorts of information there. Just for the fact that they think it's junk doesn't mean it's junk just because they don't understand it.
Right, and I think there's two sides to the hieroglyphs, like you say, or symbolism. I think there's absolutely two different ways to look at it, because some people can look at it and say, well, that's evil, and they're using that as whatever. But I think at the other side of that coin is it's giving our brains, it's like jogging our memory and going, wait, I remember what this really meant, and it was positive, and it was a loving, benevolent, symbol at some point, maybe in one of my past lives or this life even, and it kind of makes you go, well, so many things have been infiltrated, and like you just said, like there's art, there's music, there's that, but I think even the music part, because we find out certain frequencies make us happier, like the Wingmaker music, for instance. Right. And so certain industries or types, genres, all genres have certain infiltration, and so it's really important what we listen to, what we ingest, not just by food, but by our eyes and our ears. And I think that's where the whole sixth sense came in. And that was my other thought this morning, was we don't have junk DNA, for one, and we have senses given to us as we were made in the image of Christ, in the image of God, and we came in with all of these abilities and have been shut down from birth.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think even, to go back what you were saying about the mask or whatever, the people that want to wear them, you can't convince them otherwise. So it's just really, you have to allow them to play and wake up whenever they wake up and play the game. And, and I'll even, at certain places when, it's mandatory, I'll wear it. I'll play the game and wear it for a few minutes. But I wouldn't work a job and do it all day. I just couldn't do it, So kudos to those who can wear one of those all day, but I'd have a headache. I have a headache after like 10, 15 minutes with one of those on. I had to go to an eye appointment and had it on for like 15 minutes, and I had to keep telling myself, take deep breaths to get plenty of oxygen, because as soon as I forget,
I had to
I'd
go
have
to
a headache.
chiropractor. Same thing.
Yep.
Yeah, and I was like, and then, a lot of people that work in offices are older, or, now we have kids going to school wearing them, and under 10 years old. In the beginning, the CDC said no masks under 10, and now you've got 3-year-olds wearing them, and they don't have a lung capacity for that.
Yeah.
And it like people say, well, that's child abuse or whatever, and I'm not trying to go into a negative spot. I just think we just need to. The other part you said in the beginning of the call was you feel like it's just like misinformation, or we're just being bombarded with. Yes, we're seeking information, but I think the fact that we're seeking it brings out so much misinformation that we really have to go within and find out what resonates and what doesn't. And I think I've been such a wussy about it all. And I'm not kidding, like where I'm just like, well, okay, well, I'll do it because I need to get groceries or whatever it is. And I was at a little event the other night, and it was just like, it made me realize that it's such a PR stunt too for businesses that will like publicize, oh, we're having a little event, but everyone's wearing a mask. Oh, don't worry, we're safe. And I was like, well, I'm exempt medically, and they're like, tonight you're not. And I kind of got mad and said something, and he goes, that was Facebook Live. And I'm like, well, I'm so sorry that you had to tell me that I'm not medically exempt, because you didn't even, like, you just told me that. You didn't even know my situation. It made me realize that we're just living in a world of zombie followers, and no offense to anyone, I know we all have to wear our masks and be safe, but really, what's the truth? What's the real reason we're wearing them?
Well, I mean, there's those of us that wear them out of fear and those that wear them out of love, because you know that...
Not out of respect.
Yeah, you're not really like the person that you're facing, on a day-to-day basis isn't really the person trying to pull the scam over on you. They're just full too, you know what I mean? Right.
It's like a minion. It's just a little group of minions, and they don't realize they're part of this bigger, nefarious, unfortunately, thing that's going on. And they think, well, why are you just being a jerk about it? And it's like, I'm not. I love you. I want you to understand. I think I'm at such a divide.
But
I don't
you can
understand
see how they
to
want
get
us to
through.
fight with that person instead of, focus on the real person at the source of telling us to put the mask on to begin with, right?
That's so true, and I think that's the thing. It's either you're against each other because of somebody's on the right or the left, or the mask or the non-mask, or the vax or the non-vax. And really, when you zoom out and do the big perspective, the big picture, and you go, what's really happening here? Why are we being pitted against each other? What's going on? And how do we get over it? How do we get past it? And I know it sounds silly, but I think that's the whole point of your show, is it's love. Yeah. Love is the answer. We just got to come at everyone with kindness and that true love, not just that, well, I suppose I'll try it for a day because somebody said to do it. But maybe that's where we start. Maybe that's how you got to start, is just, okay, well, I'll come at everyone with love no matter what they do or say and upset me, and see if you can get through one day and see if you feel better at the end of the day, because you did it with love instead of anger or pride or whatever it is.
Romantic Starseed's talking about having to. They began homeschooling this year for their kids, and I was thinking about all of the families that's having the homeschool, even not by choice. Like my kids started school again, but it's remote. They're still at home, You know, they're just on the computer now. So, and it's kind of funny that it was frowned on to homeschool. Now everybody's sort of forced to homeschool, at least for now. It's just kind of a funny thing to. I know a lot of people are upset about it, but I think it's a temporary thing.
I hope so, and I think the other thing with that is, like, you know, again, it can go a little deeper as to, I think we are literally in the middle of the biggest awakening that no one wants to be aware of, and all of our you know, like the Schumann resonance, or just like, you know, people were getting symptoms and talking about it, and like it's almost like they had to act so fast, they had to do whatever they could to keep people separated and in fear, and literally fear is what's controlling all of this narrative right now, and it is very, what's the opposite of that? Love. So we just need love. Like, we need to figure out a way to infiltrate with love instead of fear, because that will be the true way of getting out of all of this. Because when we're in low vibration, our bodies are easily infiltrated with, whether it be negative entities or literal just low vibration. We are being overtaken by the negativity, and that's how people, you know, not only that and whatever else is happening with technology, but those certain things can infiltrate our bodies and cause sickness that's not normally there. And so when you rise above that, you come into a vibration that you cannot be penetrated with anything. And when you're in that love state, you cannot be sick. You cannot get ill.
Right, because you're harmonized then.
Yes, it almost sounds too easy, like everyone would just be like, well, how do you just take everything away with love? Because that's our natural state. And when we're in our natural state, we're running in top-notch condition. Our bodies are performing at their highest peak, because that is how we were meant to operate. We didn't come here to live in fear. We didn't come here to operate in scarce, lack, or fear. Like, those things cause.
Those are all
what
disease.
Are they doing? They're taking away jobs. They're taking away people's incomes. They're causing that lack, that scarcity, and they're causing more fear. And so it's just this sick cycle.
I think the important thing, though, with all this information that's coming through, some of it's so, like, can be so alarming and scary for people, but you know, I think there's some of us in this community that we already have been aware that something like this was coming along for a while, so we should know that, hey, we've been expecting something like this. It needs to be a big shocking thing for the masses to wake up. It's just the subtle stuff isn't working for them. It hasn't worked now, so I think that's why things are so overt. And, you know, some of us that's been watching this for a while, it's like, how obvious does this need to get? And we're starting to be like, are they really not going to notice this? But I think they are. And I think that's why it's so obvious at this point. It's that, you know, everyone needs to be able to see it. Everyone needs to get over that hump of disbelief, that cognitive dissonance that comes over all of us when we hear about what's really going on. We're like, no, there's no way. You know, that's just, you know how many people would need to be involved, and it's just way beyond what we even think is possible with so many of these things going on behind the scenes. So we can't expect people to really wake up to everything overnight, but at the same time,
no, and it's too much. That definitely can cause some very difficult, like, you know, your brain malfunctions. Literally, I remember 2 years ago when I first learned of the Mandela Effect, and I honestly had to step away from it for at least 6 months, because I'm like, no, I movie quote. That's my job. That's what I do in life. When people say something and I don't know what to say, I use a movie quote. I throw it back. And when all of a sudden they started changing, I'm like, well, that's how I roll. So something's got to give here. You know, it was really difficult. And so to come into where people are looking at it and you know, you try to let them know that, well, there's this, you know, really evil and awful things happening that you wouldn't believe if I told you, and I don't want to break your heart. And, you know, you say something about the not just human trafficking, but children trafficking, and, you know, how big it really is. And it's politicians, it's actors, it's your regular Joe Blow off the street. It doesn't matter. It's so huge, and just so it's massive. You feel bad trying to do that to somebody, but you think, well, what's it going to take? Because we're at a point right now where it needs to just happen, like blow up to a point. I get it. It sucks, but again, with the Schumann resonance too, like that's been a loop of, I don't know what it was today, but it was for a while, like a copy and paste. I was watching Ascension Diaries.
Mm-hmm.
She was talking how it was like copy and paste for like almost 48 hours, and that's unheard of. And yet the Heart Math Institute was down, so she was only getting it from, the site that's like out of Russia or something. And so it makes you think, is there more that's happening with that we're not being shown? Because, again, it's like, well, you can't handle the truth. You know what? I'm so sick of hearing that. We need people to just handle the truth, or just at least be handed the truth so that they can meditate with it and let it resonate or not resonate. I think at some point we just have to realize that we were given our sense of intuitive senses for this very reason, right here and now.
Absolutely. And I think, especially in our community, we're like approaching this from a consciousness aspect of really evolving into just the more loving consciousness and attacking it from that perspective, because one of the things you'll realize that as the human consciousness ascends or raises, the whole global consciousness ascends or raises into more loving 5D type consciousness, all of the other stuff will fall in line, as far as like all the government stuff, because it's really a reflection of our level of consciousness right now, so
this is for sure.
Yeah, so you can think of the times of the past of people dying for a cause, but really living for a cause. You can live in that higher 5D perspective, and that whole 100th monkey effect, raise the planet from the other direction, pull it upward,
That, and this is one thing that is very controversial, like what I've noticed, at least with my family and friends that I try to say it to, is very controversial, is just the fact that everyone's scared to die. Everyone fears death. And because the fact that all of the real information on reincarnation has been removed from every literature piece you can find since like the 12th or 14th century, no one believes that we are eternal, like to the point, people believe, yes, we're eternal, but we have afterlife and we go to heaven. No, we live like hundreds and thousands of lives. Like when people realize that, there's nothing, I'm not saying death isn't to fear. I'm just saying we've done this before. We should not be so scared of something that is a transition in just to another state of consciousness. It's not a true death. Yes, this is our body. This doesn't come with us, or it might if we ascend. That's the other thing. I think that's really where we're at this point in time, that we are all supposed to take these bodies and ascend, and for nefarious purposes, other people would rather give us some stupid shot to change our DNA and make us robots. So we're really at a point where we need to believe we are bigger than our body gives us credit for.
Yeah, absolutely, because that's used against us all the time, the fear of death, and it's something we all go through. It's
that's
a natural part of life, and it's held over our heads all the time. As soon as the gig's up. In fact, I forgot, I think it might have been Christopher Anatra who said that. He said that way back in the early days, they didn't want slaves to know about reincarnation because they'd be like, oh, you mean if I kill myself, I can just go start another life?
Right.
I'm not a slave? So then
right,
I was
and
like,
they may
I never
not been
thought of
held.
that.
Oh wow, that is such a cool, not a cool thing, but it's like for to be at a point where I don't obviously agree with taking your life. That's very, very frowned upon in the Bible and all the Dolores Cannon books I've read and other stuff that I've looked upon. It's like suicide is literally you have to go through some other stuff in the afterlife.
I feel like it's any other game. It's like you go back to go again, and you're like, oh my God, I got to start all over again. I don't know. I don't think it's a good thing.
So I don't think we got to this point in consciousness to end it all on our own at this point. However, that time frame, I could see, yes, slaves, if they realized, oh, I can come back and do it again and do something different, whatever.
Yeah, Rome.
Here's the most important thing of it all.
Mm-hmm.
Is we've all been we've been a rock, we've been a tree, we've been black, white, red, yellow, purple, don't care what color, pick one.
Yep.
That's not what it's all about. But somehow we've been trained, or people want us to believe that our skin color matters. Give me a flipping break, because, oh my goodness, what matters is what's in us, what we bring to the table. Life's a potluck. We've all got a dish to pass, and it's all unique, and we've been told we are little and we are not unique, and we just need to stay in society and be, we're slaves to a system. You can tell me that somebody's color of their skin matters. No, we're all slaves. If people don't see that, then, well, we've got a lot of educating to do.
Yeah.
But so much has been hidden from us that we didn't believe that we can come here and do it again.
That's the
and
game.
Again and again, but we are meant to keep coming back. We're not meant to keep coming back. We're meant to ascend onto a higher level of consciousness and actually stop the wheel of samsara. We're supposed to stop that reincarnation process.
Yeah.
But we're feeding into it because we believe, well, if they're going to stick a needle in my arm and make me better, no, they're going to make you a robot. No, don't do that. Come on. No, do some research. They haven't even had enough time to do research to find out if it's going to work or not, or what the long-term effects will be. Come on. Come on. Sorry.
Oh, no.
So that's where I'm at, Shane.
Preach it, Laura.
That's just
Coming in like a hurricane tonight.
I told you. I said I knew it was coming. I knew there was a reason that hurricane came. It was like, damn it, I have to say something. Because I've been so silent. I've been so quiet. Every time I say something to my family, they're like, we just don't want to talk about this anymore. It's just blah, blah, blah. Well, here's one other thing I'm going to tell you guys, and this will probably get shut off at some point because I'm saying this. And also it's going to make me just sound weird, but if Suso, I don't know how you say his name, if he's listening or if he's in the chat, like, that'll be interesting. I live out in the country right now, but I have probably 5 to 10, I don't know, unidentified objects, but they're not, I would not say they're like friendly ones. I wouldn't say that. They're just something that is literally constantly following me. I know it sounds nuts. Like, it does. Because, like, I try to tell my parents, I'm like, look at that thing. It's stationary in the sky, but if you look through the binoculars or a telescope, it's got blinking lights. And then the minute you look at it, it flies away. So I've got them all around me all the time.
So these look like craft, not
Any
orbs?
thoughts on that? So, like, they've got red and green and white flashing lights. And my parents are like, well, they're just airplanes. That's their landing lights or gear. I'm like, why are they stationary until you identify them? Why do they start moving then?
Have you been able to get any of it on footage or anything?
No, but I just got this new phone, so I think I hopefully could.
Is it day or night or both?
Well, I haven't looked during the... There's airplanes all day coming over my house and me. Like, ones that fly really low with really loud engines.
Right.
Maybe
these don't have sound, or do they?
Say what?
Do the ones you see have sound when you see a craft that looks like it's sitting still?
At nighttime, when I see them, then they, when they start flying, then yes, I hear them. Which there's other little things in the sky that I see that don't have those noises, and they do little tricks and stuff for me, I would say. And I hope they don't stop because I'm telling you this, but I live in a very, like, far out in the country. It's not like some airports near. It's not like... This is the first time I've ever said it, so I don't know how many people are on the chat because I'm on the call with you and I can't see the chat. I don't know how weird this sounds, but there's literally...
You're in perfect company.
I know. But when I say it to my parents, they're like, you're nuts, and they're not. That's just a regular airplane. Like, they debunk anything before I even give it. They, like, don't even listen. They don't even let me tell them. So, like, they'll be flying, and then they'll stop. And then they'll just have a flashing light, and they're stationary. And then all of a sudden, I'll look at them through the binocs, and they take off, and then that's when I hear their engines. But otherwise, I don't hear them. And then during
so
the
you
day,
think these are human
just,
then?
yeah, I think so, and I don't know why. I'm like, well, I'm not that special. I got nothing.
Did you say there are green lights on them?
Green, red, and white.
I think green. I think if they have green on them, they're helicopters. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I know the ones in my area, if they have a green light, they're helicopter. They are.
But you know how a helicopter sounds. Like, so when helicopters come over, I know they're helicopters.
Right.
But like these ones, you don't hear them until they start moving again, and then sometimes you don't hear them at all, and sometimes you do, and then I'm like, are they holograms? Like, what the, I don't know. Like I said, this is the first time I'm calling them out, and I'm doing it right now under the sky, seeing like 5 of them. So, I keep saying, you know what, if you're aliens, come talk to me. I love you. I know you're just a different version of me, and that you're here to help. And if you're not aliens, then I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. You're not welcome here. That's what I say.
Yeah.
And what else can you say? What else can you do?
So that's it. They've just been flying, or stopping, or whatever. You haven't had any other interactions or anything.
No, it's nothing like interactions. It's just so when I was living in the town, I was feeling like all of these frequencies. Like I could just feel them. Like I'm sensitive to frequency. So if I'm around a lot of electronics or anything, like I can feel it. It's too much, and I feel like it makes me tired. It gives me headaches. It drains me. And people talk about like ringing in the ears, and I'm like, I feel like there's an actual frequency being put on us to, Libby, come here. Libby,
I did want to point out, and Karen's saying it too, that some are silent and some are noisy. I remember one day I looked straight up above my house, and there was a helicopter just hovered right above me, and I couldn't hear it at all. I mean, it was pretty far up. It was quite a ways up, but it was still right above my house, and I couldn't hear it. And then as it moved, it had to be in certain areas to notice it. So I think, it just depends on like the type of craft they are and what their altitude is and things like that,
Right. I think there's at a certain point, or I agree with you, like you can hear them if they're lower. I get what you're saying. But I also think like, I know this sounds wild, but I just think like our technology that we believe in and what is really out there is 2 different things. And that's what's, mind blowing when we start to believe that look what Tesla was doing, and people are saying these towers that are going up everywhere could eventually be Tesla towers for free energy and free cell phones and that kind of service. And I hope that's true, but I think we're at they say a spiritual warfare, unfortunately, at this point in time, and our frequencies are being dropped somehow through whatever else is in the sky, whatever else is out there, and coming down on us. And I don't want to be like this Debbie Downer. I just want people to be aware of it and know we can rise above it. Because I say, well, you know what? I'm only a victim if I allow myself to be a victim. Otherwise, I'm empowered to believe that you're just here to help me, and you're here to help me rise my vibration higher than you, higher than whatever junk you've got to bring down on me.
Leave it as an anchor.
So that's
leave them as ankle biters as they are. Yeah, it's
yes,
like that.
Exactly.
They only have the energy that we give to them, so really it's pretty negligible if you leave them at that level.
Exactly. So I think if my focus goes to them, and I think if I'm in a low vibration, then I'm going to allow just negative thoughts. I think that's literally the levels of our actual consciousness is when we're in a higher state of life. We don't even see them or recognize them because they're not a part of it. They're not there when we're high enough. And I haven't been high enough for a while, but I'm getting there. You know what I mean? I think truly meditating and getting ourselves in a state of not thinking, just observing, allowing whatever comes in and out to be something that we can become Wow. So I just totally lost my train of thought. Either way,
I did
all
want
I'm
to go back
saying
to
is,
I did want to go back to what
Yeah.
you were saying about the
Yeah.
craft though, because I've been seeing a lot of what I think are star family craft that has really picked up for me too. So, I mean, I know that we
are
have
they bluish, blue kind of looking lights versus stars?
no.
Or do they have a color?
I've gotten blue orbs and stuff, but no, there's no flashing
Mhm.
lights. There's no, they look like a star. Sometimes they'll power up.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
Sometimes they'll just kind of move steady and just kind of veer off in a different direction and then fade out. I mean, they're interesting. I mean, the ones I actually did a video and upload about a month ago, I guess it was, where I actually captured some stuff and I got some instructions through the Ghost Radar of how to capture it, and then I ended up capturing a craft going across there. So that was really cool. So I think, I'm sure we do have technology that's hidden, and, you might be out somewhere where they're testing some stuff out because there's not many people there or something. Who knows? But
Yeah.
it could be friendlies too, But I think you're right. If
Right,
you just put
that's
that
what-
intention out, like you were saying, if you're the good guys, I'm ready to, meet with you. If you're not,
I'm
get the
ready to
heck outta here.
interact and otherwise get out of here. And I think just more than anything, my mind was not open to any of this like 2 years ago. And the more I open my mind to it, the more I allow other stuff to come in. And so no, you asked if I had like interacted, kind of, because when I see the ones that I can tell are friendly, like I'll kind of start making motions with my hands,
Mhm.
and they'll start going in those motions.
Mhm.
So like I'll do a figure eight, and then it takes a couple minutes, but then they'll do a figure eight, and so I'm like, okay. Then I think, okay, these other ones that are around here are stopping any further communication. Maybe I'm wrong, or maybe I'm not, but that's the feeling I get with the other ones that seem to be stationary until I give them my acknowledgement, and then they fly away. So, and they don't go far. They still stay. They still are here. I want you to just just come to Wisconsin. I'll show you, Shane.
I don't know. You
Golly,
might have
I
like
just think
an East City location in Wisconsin or something, a piece of land out there. Start doing some camp outs.
I think
and stuff.
I think too, when you just start like inviting love and light constantly, that's all you think about in your mind, in love, light, and truth, and you start bringing that in. And like, I haven't read it all, but I started reading the raw material, the
Law of One,
Power Law of One, and in the beginning of the first book, it kind of talks about how people shouldn't try to do that on their own. They need to do it with a professional, and I know they were written in the 80s, so I think we're past that. But I also think that it's been infiltrated by people, like other, so there's where my mind goes on the other way, where I'm like, well, it's been infiltrated and they're aware of it, so they don't want them to make contact with us, so they're stopping it. And so whether or not that's the case, I don't know, but I'm just putting it out there, food for thought. Did not plan on telling you that. I don't know why I did, but I just thought it was, like whatever happens to Hurricane Lauralee, if she doesn't come around for a while, let's look into, let's check out some spaceships in her neighborhood or something.
Well, I'm quite sure you are protected. You have your
I am divinely loved, divinely guided, and divinely protected, and I keep that protection. And also, I think, if anything scares them off, it's Jesus Christ in our hearts, in our minds, in our bodies, and in our souls. When we say that Jesus Christ is in us and nothing can penetrate us, that's the truth. And it's literally so much more powerful. And I think Jesus Christ is the equivalent of love.
Right.
I think that's why he came. I think that's what his, he came to show us love, and that man needs to come together and unite and not divide, because when we are divided, that's when we fall, and that's what we allow. We allow any and everything to come and divide us if we keep living the life of fighting for whatever, again, the stuff that we see like every day, mask or no mask, or vax or no vax, left or right, like that will divide us all day, every day. But we need to come higher than that.
That's the game, isn't it? Divide
It
and
is the
conquer.
game, and it is a game, and that's the other thing is we are literally living, we're dreaming this all up. Our bodies are somewhere else, safe and protected, or at least our souls, the oversoul, the higher perspective of us is somewhere else, safe and sound, wanting us to do the best we can with what we've got.
And I really feel like this
But
Christ consciousness, this Christ energy is just, I think it's the same thing as the unity consciousness or the unity wave that Kalaman talks about. I think it's all the same stuff. Everybody's talking about the same thing. And, I think we're here to bring that in, to ground that in. And I think it's going to spread. I think it's a vibrational thing. Like when you have one guitar strumming really loud and all the other guitars begin to resonate with it, and I think that's what we're doing.
Right. And so it's a matter of the love and the light that we have all come onto this planet with, and we've lost and forgotten about over time. Mm-hmm. It has been dimmed down by programs, by foods, by,
the division you were just talking about?
The division, the mainstream media, whatever. Like, it's all a narrative, but we are literally just, there are so many things flying around right now. It is not even funny. Oh, I wish I had a good camera. We are here to just be, to hold that love and light for those that aren't where we're at yet, that are not able to see it yet. Like, if we don't intentionally say, I'm holding space for my loved ones, then we just don't do it. Mm-hmm. It just doesn't happen automatically. It's something we have to say. But when we constantly say, I think the most important thing for us to do, and I'm just going to throw this out here, and I'm sure you've got other callers, but that when we ground ourselves into Mother Earth, and we say, thank you, for these grounding me in, and you send down your roots, and you send them out to the entire planet, not just your state, not just your country, not your continent, but your whole planet, and you just say, sending these roots out, and then ask Mother Earth to remove anything that's not harmonizing and balancing, anything that's negative or isn't for the greatest good of all involved. And you allow that to be transmuted into love and light, because we have to transmute that energy. Energy has to go somewhere. So if we always ask for that energy to be removed, but we don't ask for it to be transmuted, then it's not getting properly put back in and sent out in a high vibration. I think that's a big part of what we're here to do, is to transmute. And I think a lot of people on this channel, on, the community that have found not only the Mandela Effect, but just the love effect, are here to transmute so much energy. And we don't realize how powerful we are when we set our intention to transmute anything that is not of the highest light, that is not of the best of intentions. And we transmute that, and we ask for it to be transmuted into love, into light, into health, happiness, hope, and faith for all. That's when we're sending out the highest vibrations to the earth. And I think that's also what's happening with the Schumann resonance. I think that's proof of it. And I think that's why sometimes when it gets shut down, it's because that vibration is getting so high. They don't want the other not so high and mighty, whatever, people to see that. And so we just need to take it upon ourselves and not have to trust in the Schumann resonance or the HeartMath Institute or any of that. Believe in ourselves, give ourselves enough credit to know that we are powerful beings of light and love. Exactly. And send that energy out through our roots, through the earth, And then along top of that, this is my other, advice for all of us on this call and anyone that ever listens to this message, is that we also, at the same time, once we transmute whatever's not right within us, when we send that out and have it transmuted into love and light, then we ask for Source, for God, or whichever anyone believes. There's something higher. We must believe that. And we ask for them, Source, God, energy, to be brought down through our crowns in that violet ray, purple flame of protection, that emerald green, beautiful, sparkly light of just complete heart, unconditional love energy, and the beautiful white light of God and Jesus that just washes through us and cleanses anything that is not holy and worthy in our bodies and in the earth. And then we just transmute that all through the earth. And so we're basically bringing it from Mother Earth below and then from Source above. And it just circulates through our electromagnetic fields. And it just sends out so much love and light that it can't be stopped.
Mm-hmm.
And we're trying to be stopped right now, and we're not going to stop. Like, we just need to keep sending love and light. And I know it's so hard in these times when everyone wants to fight and disagree, but that's what they want us to do because it lowers our vibration. So when we raise our vibration, when we bring in that love and light, it is our key to getting away from whatever the world is presenting us right now. And I know that I'm saying it like sounds so easy because I'm like constantly like, what's going on? Why is this happening? But at the same time, I'm like, just remember love and light.
And it is really that simple, but there's plenty of distractions to keep pulling us away from that.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. It's like, oh my gosh, think about it. When we used to buy a toothpaste, it was like, there's like 3 choices, and now there's like 900, and you're like, I just want one without fluoride. I don't know. And then, with like just everything, it's like it's almost like we're completely purposely being confused with too many options. And I think when we start to simplify things and realize that the core is love and light, and that the truth is that will set us free. Our truth will set us free. And what we're here to do is be set free. And right now, I'm not saying everyone or we, I'm saying the masses believe that we're in, this state of fear and confusion and distrust. And I think there's misinformation coming from everywhere. And it's like, so not only can we not figure out which toothpaste to buy, but which YouTube channel is actually telling the truth or is not telling the truth, or is giving you 5 truths and 1 not truth. And you have to like figure out what resonates with you. And I think step back from it all, find that love and light, transmute all of this negative energy for the world, because we're here to do that. Like, there are specific people that came to the planet at this time to do these things. So when you tell people that and they look at you like you have 3 heads, it's probably they're not one of them. I guess that's where we're at. Because I know everyone thinks I have 3 heads, and if I did, God darn it, I'd be a lot smarter, I bet. But at this point in time, I think it's all love and light. But it also comes down to believing in yourself that you have the capabilities to do this, and then setting the intention to do it.
Absolutely. It's
I don't know. I guess I
limitations.
had a lot to say, Shane.
No, I appreciate it. Yeah, they're asking me if I've seen the Schumann, and it looks like it's got a bunch of blackout stuff on it. No, I haven't looked at it, you guys. I haven't even really been online, and if you guys have emailed me, I'm so sorry. I will get to your emails. I just haven't even really been at the computer much, so please.
I think you need to have that break.
Yeah.
I think it's super important to get away from the screen, because that screen, not only is it a screen for, it's a good screen for truth and helping others, but it's a Black Mirror, and the show The Black Mirror, it has so many episodes where it's like just messes with your mind, and I think it's meant to open our minds and expand our minds so that we can start allowing these new energies, and they're not new, but they're new to a lot of people, and we need to start allowing them to come through and accept them. We have to be open and ready to receive also. If we're not, we don't see these gifts when they come in. We don't see the miracles or the manifestations that we are asking for, because we have this expectation of how they're supposed to come in, of what they're supposed to look like, or, and you have the checklist, and it's got to be this and this and this, and if you don't see it right away, then you don't have that feeling of love for the actual thing that you're wanting to bring into your life. So I think a lot of this is also law of attraction, and allowing ourselves to just love the feeling of knowing what we're anticipating to come into our lives, but have no expectation. And that's hard. How do you have this desire and then let go completely? I mean, that's faith. That's literally just faith.
But it's liberating, though. Like when you finally do let go, it's such a liberating thing to say, you know what, I thought I had to do this, but now I realize that I don't even have to do it, And that's so much easier than feeling like, breath. Just get in the flow,
And do the sigh.
Yeah,
Let
that works so
out.
well.
It does, Shane. If it wasn't for you, I would always forget. I would just breathe it out and be like, okay, now what? When you do the sigh, that means you can let go of the intention, knowing that all is truly well, and that it is coming, and that you can have faith. But if we don't let that go completely, and I think the sigh is a big part of it, then we're not actually allowing it to happen. We're still trying to control what happens or how it happens. And we didn't come here to control everything, but we've been taught to. That's our mindset. We're programmed to believe that we have to control all of our lives and everything, and it's got to be this, this, and this, and there's a schedule and blah, blah.
Yep.
Well, that keeps us in the loop.
Locked in.
And I feel like Kimberly Lynn Hansen is one of the most perfect proofs of you don't have to be holding on to an outcome that you expect, because you can, what she says is, it's going to be better than what you expect, but you have to let it be. I just gave myself chills. And also your presentation, I just finally watched it from Mandela Effect. Amazing. I just think love and light and just in allowing are why we all came here. But we've been trained and programmed to believe that we must make everything happen or it will never happen.
Oh, we got a question from Dominic Frost for you, Laura.
Yes, okay.
Okay, I have a question for your guest. Laura, do you believe in manifestation? I am curious about when the burnout comes, the loss of knowing that all is well that comes sometimes.
I love the question. Thank you for asking that, Dominic. And I hope someday to be such a good example of that. But I can give you one. Recently, I was furloughed from my job, and then they, at the end of the furlough, were like, well, sorry, the position's no longer there, and you can't come back, right? And so all of a sudden your mind goes, oh my God, what am I going to do next? Nothing's, and for the 3 months that I was claiming for the furlough, no money came through, nothing. And so I had called a few times, and I was just like, I basically resisted it. I kept telling them, I'm like, it's just not going to happen, Finally, when I said, you know what, God's got this. It's going to happen. I'm meant to have this, and so it shall be. And so it is. So my new motto or advice would be, Dominic, is so it is, so it was, and so it shall be. And so you're allowing the past, present, and future of whatever that outcome that you're anticipating to be, and you let it go from there and just say, it's so it is, so it was, and so it shall be. Amen. Namaste. And you just have faith. I know that sounds hard, but you can't think about it too hard, because when you do, it perpetuates anything from coming through. So finally it did come through. but I had to really let go, and it was really hard because every day I was like, well, it's going to happen. It's got to happen, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's happening.
So and you just have to say it is happening. So it is, so it was, so it shall be. It already happened. Thank you for that blessing. Thank you, Source. Thank you, God. Thank you, angels. And that's it. I have I'm not some manifestation queen yet. I would love to be, because I have so many things in my vortex, as Abraham Hicks would say, just waiting to come to me. And I just have to get on that level at which they exist for me to come into connection with them. So literally, they've already manifested. So that's the other thing about planet Earth, is we came here and had to forget everything that we ever knew. But when we were not here, we knew we could have whatever we wanted. And so coming here and trying to believe that we can have anything but never seeing it come into fruition made us believe that we couldn't have it. And so we doubted ourselves. So the minute we sent out that rocket, like Abraham Hicks will say, we send our rockets of desire, but the minute we do that, we also say, well, it never happened last time, or whatever. We send our doubt. So if we just send out that rocket of desire and say, so it is, so it was, so it shall be, thank you, amen, namaste, whatever you want to say, and then let it go and literally just try to move on with your day and your life as much as possible. And when you think about that thing that you have so much desire for, you have that feeling of already having it. So what's it feel like to have that house you've always wanted to live in? What's it feel like to have that car you've always wanted to drive? Like that feeling, that's all that needs to drive you. It doesn't matter how it gets there. You don't have to think about that part. That part's not up to you. That's up to the universe. That's up to God. That's up to Source. Like, we just have to let go and let God. But we are so trained and programmed to believe we have to control it all, and we know how it's going to happen. And if it doesn't happen in that perfect way, then it's not going to happen at all. And that's not true. That's just what we believe. So the biggest part of that is we have to brainwash ourselves to believe that anything is possible and everything is possible.
Wash our brains. I like that.
Exactly. Wash our brains. It's a whitewash. And just believe all that you've ever thought and all that you've ever wanted. When it's in the greatest good of yourself, when it's for the greatest good of yourself and the greatest good of all involved, there's no reason you can't have that. There's no reason that you aren't deserving of it, because we are all deserving of our desires. But again, we've been led to believe that we've made sins or we've hurt people and we've hurt ourselves. You know what I mean? We've done all these bad things, so we just don't deserve it. But that's just silly. We came into this little fun, silly game not knowing that it is a game, and not realizing that we came here to be big, to be vast, to move mountains, as God says. Because if you have faith, is just a mustard seed of faith. So take that faith and say, you know what, I've got that faith in me. I don't believe in that program anymore. I don't believe that I cannot have it all because my mom or my dad or my sister or brother or teacher or somebody told me I couldn't. It makes you want to push harder to have it, but it actually makes you just need to realize that there are those they're the people that come into your life for a reason, to give you that pushback. And it's like all this game. It's literally all a game. So we're all coming into this game thinking that, well, I've got to do this and this, and if it doesn't happen, well, that's your program. That's old. Excuse me. That's an old program. It's an old thought. It's an old belief. It's not yours. Is that truly your belief? Did you believe that coming into this, that you couldn't have it all? Or did somebody tell you you couldn't have it all? And that's when we start to pull back and go, well, you know what? I don't think I actually did decide that I couldn't have it all. That was somebody else that told me that.
Mm-hmm.
So when you let it go and let that stop believing everything everyone tells you. So I saw a quote the other day, and it's something that rings true now, and I heard it back when I was young, and it never made sense to me. Believe nothing that you hear and only half of what you see. So you're literally just giving no one any reign over what you believe or think. It's all about what you in your heart know is true for you. And so here's the other part of that. The other side of that coin is when people are like, well, I would really love like this 9,000 square foot home with a pool and whatever. If that's not in the plan for what you want, or, you know, if you don't, you know, that's a big goal. That's a big thing to be shooting for. And so instantly we send those rockets of disbelief, like immediately when we send that desire. But if you know that that's literally what you are meant to have and that you will do the best that you can with it, and it will be for the greatest purpose of yourself and all involved, it will be yours. Mm-hmm. And you will have it. And there's no doubt. But when the moment of doubt comes in, all you have to do is start thinking just about how good it will feel to have that, and that you are worthy of it, because we've all been told we're not worthy, and we are all worthy of all of our desires. It's a matter of believing it. It's like believe in faith.
Feeling it.
Feeling it. Just feel how good that would feel to have that, because you know it's going to change your life for the better, and there's no nefarious intentions at all involved. It's all for the greatest reasons. So yes, you deserve it. We should all have that feeling of deserving. And I think the other thing is that what's happening, and I just have to say this, when all this came about was people were manifesting things faster than ever before in this life, because so many people were coming online and helping people to realize their capabilities of manifestation and of bringing their desires to fruition. And so look at, it's just like all this great stuff was happening, and then all of a sudden it was like, you know, everyone's gonna die and you gotta wear a mask and blah blah blah, and it was like, they be killing our vibes. What? Which is so quickly, you know what I mean? It was like, boom, flip. It was like a switch. Somebody flipped a switch, and they're like, not so fast, world. And I think we've all got it in us to make that happen. And we all just have to have more faith in ourselves and in humanity, because they're our brothers and sisters, everyone here. So if you have hate in your heart for anyone, if you have hate in your heart for any business or entity in this world, it's going to block you from receiving your true, you know, bringing in your true desires, because somewhere in you, that block is going to stop what you truly desire to come in until you realize that all is love, and you are loved, and they are loved, but they're just in a different state of consciousness right now, and we just have to love them where they're at, because we believe that everyone should be where we're at in our consciousness, and it's insane to think that, because how long did it take so many of us to get where we're at? And we're still always growing, and we're still always learning. We're still always striving for that next level. But when you start to accept and ebb and flow instead of just trying to make it happen, that's when the magic starts happening. And again, that's where Kimberly Lynn Hansen comes in, and she's like, just believe that it can get better, and that the outcome's going to be better than what you desire. And you're like, if you start really, I think now that I say that, I think her whole point on that was, when you start to realize that it could actually be better than what you actually desired, you kind of let go of that desire of what you think you need and allow yourself to let it be even better. And then, like Suso said, you know, he had to rent a car for another day, and then all of a sudden it was free because their system was down. So he didn't have to pay for it. And she's like, watch, it will be better. And it was like, better. And he's like, what the heck? You know, when she missed her flight, and then it was like, well, you know, it's fine. I just have to connect through the city and stay the night. And all of a sudden her phone dings, and her friend in that city needed her help. So it was like, boom, when you start to believe it can only be better. And that's also Cynthia Sue Larson. That's hers is how good can it get? You know, that's her motto. And if you truly believe how good can it get, then you're only opening the door for the possibilities to widen. When we start to put a a cap on it by saying, well, this is all I want, and I just want this, and why is this so hard? Why can't I get it? Because you're limiting yourself, because you're not allowing yourself to bring in that true manifestation of the goodness that you truly deserve, because you don't feel like you deserve it. And so there's so much we need to work on with ourselves. Is first of all, knowing that we're worthy, and then letting go any possibility that we're not, and then allowing the doubt to fade away. And it doesn't happen overnight. It's just something we do as we start to realize the universe is here for us, not against us. And we're not a victim. We are a player, and we're here to be the biggest player of the moment in this time, especially right now. It's so crucial. We're all here to be, whether people believe it or not, or whether you want to think, well, you had this plan coming in. I know it seems hard and life doesn't seem fair. And like me, I've been to jail 5, 6, 7 times, I think, and I've been, I've had a lot of trouble in my life, and I've just been through the ringer, and I think, well, I guess it was all for a reason. I have to believe that, or I'll just, or we like you said, like slave time, we just end it, and that's not. We didn't come here to end it. We came here to live it, and believe that all of that shit that happened in our past was only to help us move forward in the future. So the next time you talk to somebody who is having a bad day, you get, not to rub it in their face, like, well, I went through all of this, but instead relate with them, empathize with them, feel them, be aware of their feelings, their energy, and say, I think what would really lift you up right now is whatever this, and this, instead of comparing what you guys have gone through, but just saying, I relate with you, and I understand what you're going through on such a level, and I think this is what's helped me. I think try this, it might help you too. We came here to learn. That's the school of Earth is the school. It's literally learning. It's a way for us to advance our consciousness and our awareness to the next level. And if we keep advancing, we're going to only become stronger with each level and allow ourselves to be available to help others reach that level. And on that note, I'm actually thinking of starting some type of a website where I help people.
Oh, cool.
Like a session. Yeah, and I feel like that's where I'm led. I keep thinking, well, what am I why does the 3D matrix keep spitting me out? Every job I have, it's like, nope, not for you. Nope, not for you. And I'm like, I just want to help people. I want them to know how valuable they are, and how we each have a purpose, but we've got so much programming going on that we've kind of gotten to a point where we're just buried with all of this programming of, well, we'll never get to this level because that's not where I was meant to be, or so-and-so told me I will never save the world or help people or change lives or whatever. And it's like, no, we came here to do whatever the heck we wanted to, but we've been living in a society that told us we couldn't. And that's just horse dong, in my opinion. And, I took the Beyond Quantum Healing class.
Oh, you did? How'd you like it?
I loved it. I took it literally after my session with you, and I thought it was fantastic. I got through it in a couple weeks, but I didn't have the system to set it up, but I'm getting a system to do whatever. My thought would just be more like tarot and kind of like a, my higher self connects with your higher self kind of a reading, and whatever comes through is the message you need at that time. And so I think we all have that gift. It's not just specific people, but it's getting to that point in our lives where we are aware that that's what we came here to do, was to help. And whether it's in that capacity or another one, we all have a reason for being here. And people keep saying, well, this is such an awesome time to be on planet Earth. And other people are like, are you effing kidding me? Look what's going on. But when you rise above to see there's so much more going on than what we're allowing ourselves to see, it's bigger and better. And I think we came here to bring 5D or whatever, bring new Earth, bring bigger, better onto this planet right here and right now. And there's a calling for people.
I think Dominic had a great question that we can tackle, because I think a lot of people
Yeah.
do feel desperate. Like, you feel like you need to do something, and then you start to feel kind of desperate about it. Like, is this ever going to happen? I think this is this is what I'm feeling. Why isn't it happening? So then you begin to feel desperate. So his question was, is there another side to desperation? And once again, I'll just go back to kind of what I said earlier on this, is that, once you sort of trust your team, your higher team, then you realize that there might be 2 steps before you get to that step that you're envisioning. And you just have to trust that they'll take you through the needed steps to get you to there. And then you're just really operating from the heart and trusting that as long as you're operating from the heart, you'll be guided through the heart. Because through the heart, that's our connection outside the matrix, is our heart, the love. That's the only real thing, you know what I mean? Everything else is superficial. So as long as you're driven by the love, that really, and I think that's what this time is all about, because everywhere you look, there's no way you can cling to any of these stories going on, because there's so many of them, and they're so good, and so many of them are plausible. There's only one direction to go, and that's within. Like Jesus said, the kingdom of God is within you, the kingdom of heaven is within. And I think that's what all this chaos is for, because you are left with no other choice. Even logically speaking, when you look around at all of these narratives going around and wonder what the heck's going on, you're left with no choice. But I can't pick any of those out there. I've just got to go within and operate from the love, the heart. And so I think the desperation thing, I'd say just trust your team. They got you this far. You just got to trust that, you don't have to know how it's going to play out. You just have to know that they've got your back,
Right. You nailed it too. And like, what you said with Jesus, and I think it's super important for people to know the truth about Jesus. Everyone thinks that, he was like, and Shane, I'm not trying to go against what the Bible says about immaculate conception, but when I read all these Dolores Cannon books, I'm like, holy crap, she had real, she regressed people back to the time of Jesus. And she found out that Joseph and Mary, like normal people, had Jesus. And they were surprised that it happened because Joseph was older in his life, and they didn't think Mary could have more children. And so it was a very surprising thing. And the other thing that's hidden. So I think we're literally looking at Jesus and that life as a lie. And so when they also say he's the only son of God, no, we're all sons and daughters of God. So was Jesus. He was just on a higher level of consciousness and awareness than we were or are at that time. And so he did all he could at that time and allowed the crucifixion, unfortunately, to happen, because he knew there was no more he could do. He was pushed into that. This is a very deep thing for me to be saying. I understand that. The other part of it was they don't talk about what Jesus' main thing was, and it was meditation. They don't talk about what happened from Jesus 13 to 30, do they? Because they don't want people to know that when he says the kingdom of God is within you, that just means if you meditate, you will get to that level of being one with God. And that's our ultimate goal in this world, is to be one with our Creator, to come here, to learn enough, to understand enough, to be high enough and raised up high enough to love humanity, our brothers and sisters, so much that, just like Jesus did, to love one another so much that is your end game, your last goal, whether it's the person that hurt you the most in this life, or the boss that fired you, or the boyfriend that cheated on you. You have to send them love, and you don't have to go and tell them you love them. You don't have to go and forgive them like the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous. Like, you can just tell them through your mind and energy, I am sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you, and let it be. And repeat it as many times until they're not in your mind and they're not running that script in your head so much that you cannot stop thinking about them. Send them that love and light and that forgiveness, because that will go away. We're all brothers and sisters. We all are united. We're all meant to be back together with our Creator again. And that's when we can find our love in our hearts for all of our brothers and sisters. That's what Jesus wanted us to do. He wanted us to love one another no matter what. Your fellow man, whether they're hurting you or or loving you. You know, you just have to give them that same amount of love, no matter what. I know it sounds so hard and silly. I had a coach that tried to, do bad things to me. And for the longest time, I held hate in my heart for him. And when I finally let it go, it was like the biggest weight lifted off my shoulders. The other thing with past life regressions, I know that brings out things that we are holding on to. We don't even realize we're holding on to. So there's so many things, so many situations in life where, say we date the person that we despise the most, but we love them at the same time, and we don't realize why we keep going through that. Why we keep allowing ourselves to be put into the same situation every time. It's because we all have lessons to learn, and if we don't learn that lesson, we have to be brought it again and again. So that's why it's like a cycle. Life is a cycle.
Yeah.
And
that's so true. And it's like when you realize it, you can move quickly through those lessons, you know.
You can or you can't. You can just hold so much more anger and pissed offness because you're like, no, I'm not forgiving this person. I have no reason to love them. That's just stupid. You know, people just want to like say, no, F that, stupid. No.
That's so cool that you brought that up because of the law of one actually talks about the catalysts that come are actually designed to push you one way or the other, not necessarily to the good. It might make you more angry at the world, and because I've seen that happen to people, they get more and more and more jaded as that things happen, and they feel more and more as the victim, and the world's out to get them, and they move that direction. So catalyst is, from the law of one's perspective, it's just to get you off the fence, you know, so to speak. It's to push you one way or the other,
and that,
you know.
Right. So with Dominic's question, that's a great point too. Is just to move in a direction. So whether it's, you know, you're like, well, I want it written on paper in front of my eyes so I can read it clearly, and I need to know my next step. And sometimes you just have to have faith and believe that even though it sounds super weird or like nothing you would ever do, but it keeps coming into your mind, or like, why do I keep being led to this specific thing? And just go with it. Take that leap of faith and jump and believe that your angels and your guides and God, everyone's got you. Like, ascended masters, they're all out there helping us right now harder than we'd ever believe in. Like, I cannot say that I have like that super direct, like, you know, where people are like, well, my guides told me this and my downloads told me this. It's more of allowing your intuition to lead you. And when you start trusting in that, then you build up that relationship with the higher realms. And that also, like you said, there's the difference between victimhood and empowerment. And when you finally allow yourself to forgive and to love, you move out of a victim mode and you are empowering yourself to move on with your life, because that is what you deserve, and that is why you came here, because you deserve the best, just as everyone else does, equally. We are all equal. It doesn't matter what we look like or where we came from. We are all love and light, and we came here to be just that. But we've been told a million other things and led in 9,000 trillion different directions and believed that we were like just tiny little nothings on this planet. Like, Earth is so big and you're nothing. Well, screw you. I know I'm something and I have so much to give. Believe in yourself. That's it. Like, Jesus meditated and he went within and he believed in himself, and he knew that he, just like all of us, are a reflection of God, and that we came here to be just that, to do like loving things and awesome things for one another. As much as you want to grit your teeth and say no, just set that intention. You don't even have to truly believe it at first. You don't have to believe that you forgive this person or that you love them. Just set the intention to do it. Set the intention to say, I forgive you, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, and move on. But just when the intention's there, and your angels and your guides and God and everyone's aware of it, or source, whomever you look up to, like, just know that there's something higher working for you, and that they're always working for us. No one's ever here against us. It's only ourselves putting ourselves in victimhood when we believe that we are being worked against. And that is also a program that we've been led to believe, that, you know, that we're not that important, and that there are so many reasons to not feel important. And that was my whole message of calling in tonight, was that we are love and we are light, and we came here to be just that. And when we stop looking at all the clutter and all the information that's coming in from 9 trillion directions and you don't know what's true or fake, just believe in yourself. Believe that you are the love and the light, and you came here to bring that onto this planet at this time, and that's exactly why we're here. And so it may not make sense at first, but just believe in yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah, and believe that you've gotten as far as you have. And I want to I think, the whole group here, we're a powerful group of manifestors, and I think, Dominic and Helen knows that they've got us behind them, that they will come together in the most perfect of ways, the most divine of ways, and things will work out. Dominic's saying that he feels like he needs to know the next step. And, I can tell you right now, if you're in the heart space, if you're in that vortex like Abraham Hicks talks about, the next step will be so obvious when it comes to you. You know what I mean? It'll be surrounded by all these synchronicities and stuff. You won't miss it. So I think worrying about it is, that's kind of getting you out of receiving mode. You know what I mean? You're out of the vortex if you're sort of worrying about it.
Right.
So just trust it's going to come, again, and trust you're going to know that next move, it's going to be so perfect, just like a flower grows. You don't have to tell a flower to grow in a certain way.
Right.
Your next step
You don't have to tell yourself to breathe.
Right.
You don't have to tell your heart to beat.
Yep.
Right. And Dominic, I don't know what your situation is. I just real quick said what's going on with Dominic, and it was say no. I don't know if that means anything to you, but that's what came through, was just say no or something. I'm not sure if that's to a person, to an addiction, to something, but the other part, like Shane was just saying, is letting go of any expectations and just allowing. It's really scary because we want to control everything. We want to make sure that everything goes as planned. But the plan that we have and the plan that God or Source has is so much bigger than we can comprehend. And I can't say this every day, but like for so many days of my life, I asked, why am I here? I feel like it would just be better if I was not here. And I was in a very dark space for a very long time. And I'm not saying I don't go there still, because I do. And I thought, I just think maybe I'm taking up too much oxygen on this planet. I don't want to do this anymore. And I know, and I don't mean to sound, I'm not trying to say that to sound sad, but I think we all feel so much hopelessness and despair sometimes. We just think, well, there's literally no reason for our existence, and that's how I have felt. And I know that when we get into our low vibrations, something that is not of us comes in to try to bring us lower, and that's not real. And we just tell them, negative entities, demons, whatever it is, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus Christ. You are not welcome here. That's all you have to say, and just believe in your heart that Jesus has got you, because he's our brother. And literally his love is what is keeping so many of us here right now, because we all have thoughts of hopelessness. I don't mean all of us. Many people have thoughts of hopelessness, especially in these current situation where you just think, well, where's everything gonna, how am I gonna make ends meet, or how will I do this? And I think, don't give in to the despair. Don't give in to that negative energy that's trying to pull you down so far, because the minute you say Jesus Christ is here, they're out. They're gone. They're scared. Like, literally, play gospel music. People have said this so many times. I've heard it lately. It's like so many people have talked about either reading verses from the Bible or saying the Lord's Prayer. But anything that's negative or that has been haunting them or pulling on them, it's like it dissipates. It just goes away, because they can't handle that love. They can't handle that high vibration. That is literally why I'm saying we need that high vibration now more than ever, because otherwise there's bad negative shit that's trying to come in and take over. And Jesus Christ says, nope, I don't think so, buddy. Nice try. And you don't give into it, and you say, God, Jesus Christ, in the name of Jesus Christ, I rebuke you. I've got Jesus in my heart, my mind, my body, and my soul. And if you have to say it 100 times, that's fine. But you're here for a reason. You are so much more special than you give yourself credit for. And this life is for you, not against you.
Amen to that.
Amen.
I appreciate
Do you
you
have other
calling
people
in.
calling in yet? Yeah, thanks, Shane. Oh my gosh, I didn't mean to talk for so long, but I'm really happy.
Hurricane Laura Lee.
I did come in like a hurricane, son. What? Well, so nice to chat with you, and I wish you the best. And once I get something up and running, I'll let you know so you can tell people, because my YouTube channel has like 10 subscribers or something right now. So
yeah, that'd be awesome.
You can spread the word.
Yeah,
okay,
we'll have a big kickoff party or something. We'll
and I'll have Dominic come in for free, and we'll just do a little session just to chat some stuff over.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, so Dominic is.
You can give him my email.
Dominic's
if you want to give Dominic
States.
my email, that's cool.
Dominic's here in the States, and Helen's in the UK. So.
Or if you want to send them both my email, Shane, since you have it, if you have their email, or if they email you, send them my email and to get in touch with me. And once I get my thing set up, I'll talk to them both, and we can just chat things over.
Absolutely. Yeah, Dominic,
Awesome.
Dominic said you were an amazing caller.
Oh, thank you. Well, Shane's an amazing host, and he's such a blessing to be this platform for all of us to come together, because I think more often than not, we just need somebody to come to and to feel that, like, we're not alone, that we're all in this together, and we need that unity more than ever.
Absolutely. Yeah, so when she hops back in the chat, you guys, you'll see her name. It's Hurricane Laura Lee.
Hurricane.
Yeah.
Yes, that's my YouTube channel too. I have like 2 videos. I don't have anything out there, but I don't know if it's connected to an email or what, but
no, it should just I think if they type in Hurricane Laura Lee, it should come up, but I'm not sure.
Okay. Yeah.
But they'll
Sounds
recognize
groovy.
you when you're back in the chat.
Yes, I will come back in the chat and I'll put it out there. Okay.
All right, sounds good. Lots of love to you, Laura. Thanks for
Thanks,
calling.
Shane. Thanks, everybody. Love to all.
All right, bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Let's go.
You're listening to The Love Stream.
Unbiased and on the fence.
Alrighty. Gonna go back to the phone lines here. Let's see. 520. Oh, are you there? Oh, wait. No, that one hung up. Or wait, was that? 757. Nope, you hung up. Okay, it looks like I lost the caller, but if you want to call back, I can get you right in here. So yeah, that's tough, man. That's tough, long distance relationships. I can't imagine being across the pond like that. Gosh, and then with this whole lockdown thing, is there even international traffic? Is everything shut down from country to country? I don't even know. I went to Canada, like across the border, back before 9/11. Let's see. Yes, thank you so much, Laura. That was wonderful having you call in. But yeah, I don't even know if you can, I don't know how much travel. But before 9/11, I went into Canada and I was able to go over without a passport and stuff. But other than that, I haven't even been out of the country. Let's see here. All right, well, we just got 17 minutes left. I'll wait for a few minutes, see if anybody wants to call and talk for a few minutes. Otherwise, we'll wrap it up.
What do?
Awesome. Yep, matter of fact, I do Beyond Quantum Healing sessions, and you can actually also take it. So if you're wanting a session, they are $111 right now, and you can just contact me through the website, uotf.net. And if you're actually wanting to take the course and become a practitioner, and it's all online, there's a promo link below, and you can save 10% to take the course, and I think it's $300 with the promo code. So yeah, if you plan, I say it's, if you do any kind of stuff, I'd say this is a nice thing to have in your toolbox, even if you just want to save it for your friends and your family. I think it's cool if you got if you're in a relationship with someone that's also awakened. It would be cool to do the course together. That would be awesome. And then you guys could do sessions for each other. So, for the price, I'm not really sure what everyone charges. I only charge $111, but I know they do get more expensive depending on who you go through sometimes. So it might be just as cost effective to just take the course and learn how to do it and know how to do it, have all the PDFs and stuff to be able to do it, and just have it to add to what you can do, because it is really a cool technique. But yeah, everything's available on the website. You can look into it further. And of course, there's tons of great videos out there with BQH and QHHT sessions. All right, you guys. Well, lots of love, light, and unity to each and every one of you. Have a great night. Be sure to check out the website at uotf.net. There you will find the live stream schedule displayed in your local time right there on the front page. Below that, you'll find links to take the Beyond Quantum Healing course at a discounted rate, purchase our book, Mandela Effect, Friend or Foe, in paperback or ebook, or to contact me to schedule a BQH session. At the top of the site, you'll find links to help support the work I do, access the free private forum where you can discuss organizing get-togethers in your area, Mandela effects, and more. Thank you all so much for being here.